them on their first free Christmas in so many years. Altogether, they spent 28 years imprisoned. General Secretary Paris de Cuellar from the UN was present, who had done so much to liberate the Americans. Today in Seoul, the governments of South and Northern Korea agreed upon cooperation for the first time in 46 years. There's a political agreement which foresees non-interference in the internal affairs and avoiding of slander of the other side. This is the UN, which has extended by 6 months the UN peacekeeping troops in Cyprus, but the question of financing is still open. Canada and France, England are virtually covering all of the costs. And for several years, they want to have a general system of financing, which would be mandatory within the UN. This is not supported by many members of the United Nations. This is not supported by the Soviet Union and the United States, among others. 8 persons were wounded as a result of a powerful explosion which took place next to a police station in North Ireland, Craigavon. It was so loud that it could be the blast that it could be heard 45 kilometers away. But no one has claimed responsibility for this act. In the United States, the CIA is to undergo essential changes. By all measures, the Cold War is behind us, and with it, all these insane military programs, mutual fears, and we have an understanding desire to know everything or almost everything about the other side. If we're not friends with America, we're at least partners. So what is the role here for our spy organizations? Or perhaps we should disband, perhaps the CIA should be disbanded. Such an opinion was expressed in the Congress of the United States in September. But just recently, the new director of the CIA, Robert Gates, said that the breakup of even a small empire was a great threat. The breakup of the Soviet Union, which took place so quickly, inspired the CIA to intensively begin gathering information to evaluate the situation. So what can we expect from the CIA in the future? If you decide to dismantle intercontinental rockets, and if you're not going to build military planes, then you won't have a lot of space for the CIA. But that's not the case. This is Professor Simpson from San Francisco University. Then you're going to have to live with the CIA. But still, nevertheless, Mr. Gates said there would be changes. Over a number of years, gradually, the number of employees would be reduced by 15%. It's now assumed that roughly 10,000 persons are employed in the CIA, plus another 20,000 informers and persons who cooperate. The budget will be reduced. This is also a secret, but it's assumed that the CIA spends about $30 billion per year. So we have a little more than 2.5 hours before the time when Russian authorities have declared Erich Honecker must leave Russia. If he does not leave voluntarily, he may be handed over by force. In this building on Yuna Street in the Chilean embassy in Moscow, Erich Honecker is a guest of the embassy, and the embassy is waiting for further instructions from Chile. The struggle against fascism, who spent almost 10 years in fascist Nazi camps, forced labor camps, but then a struggle against his own people, is now considered responsible for the deaths of more than 200 persons who died in trying to escape East Germany. In West Germany, where they're planning to meet Christmas, and they have approached the Chilean and Soviet authorities that Honecker be handed over to German justice. The Chileans have said they will not give asylum to Honecker the ambassador here, who is now in Santiago, consulting on the question of Honecker being in the embassy. Honecker said he was not being deported, but handed over to a specific country, to Germany. To West Germany. So the leader of the first state of workers and peasants in Germany has become a headache for the heads of 3 different states. So that's politics, but we have life, we have art as well, and music. From the Moscow Conservatory, there was a youth concert of United Europe. You'll see the second concert after our program. Here we have an outstanding director, Claudia Baza, with the outstanding Russian violin player, Victoria Mova. I remember what a shock it was when she defected. She was such a great talent, but she probably wanted to play the violin more than she wanted to live. And her play was extraordinary. Excuse me, do you remember me? I remember you. At the Tchaikovsky competition, I have your photograph. You were sitting on the couch, underneath the plant. Can you imagine how grateful I am to you for remembering me? It has been 8 or 9 years since we've seen each other, 10, or perhaps 9. Tell me, Victoria, is everything the way you wanted it to be, even better? I want to ask your father, has your daughter changed? No, I don't think so. No, she has changed, of course, internally. She's become liberated. Before she was very rigid, but I don't even recognize her now. How about your grandson? Oh, yes, I saw him. Wonderful. I wish you all the best and good luck. Today, at the morning rehearsal, she had a sense of irreality. She was again standing on the stage, which was the most beloved by her, but which she saw she would never see again. So this is her dream, which she thought would never come to be. So let us hope that someday that someone else will will interview an excellent new talent who won't have to leave the country. He'll have people who love him, who have great working conditions, and that state of the soul which we call happiness. For 75 years, the artist is 75 years old. His biography is short. He's from Petersburg. He graduated from the Academy of Arts, then the Army. He was on the front as a 41. He was demobilized at the end of the war, and then just work and more work. Only a small amount of that which was created by Sherbakov is shown here. He's studied with our classics, Brodsky, for example. No matter what he draws or paints, his still lifes, his landscapes, is all done in the realistic school. In our age, when everybody is interested in the avant-garde, aren't you afraid of being old-fashioned? No, I have no fear of that. This is Mr. Sherbakov, the artist. I have a different fear. I might not be able to achieve perfection in art. I treasure most of all loyalty to ideals, to principles, to convictions. I also ask the question today, in this difficult time, how does he find it? How does work? How well does he work? He says, beginning with Tolstoy and Dostoevsky, who are great teachers. For a Russian person, it is characteristic that he will go to the very end in achieving what he has to do. And I think we're close to that. And then we will have a renaissance. And here we have the sports section. This is simultaneous interpretation from the Russian by John Glad. Good evening. Sports has a tradition which has not been violated for dozens of years. That is the lighting of the Olympic flame. On the tradition of the former years, we can see that the Olympic Games in Albertville are very close. It's here in these pictures where you see in the Temple of Hera, the flame was lit. Here, Maria Bubuki was lit the flame. Tomorrow, the flame will be delivered by plane to Paris, where there will be a solemn ceremony. And there are 5,000 persons who will participate in the Olympic carrying the torch. Only on the 8th of February will the Olympic flame appear in Albertville, and there will be a solemn opening of the Games. So now we can begin counting the days till the beginning of the Olympics. In the meantime, our sportsmen are getting ready. In Tokyo, the figure skating is being led by Maya Usova and Alexander Zhulin. Among the pair skaters are Marina Yeltsova and Andrei Bushkov from St. Petersburg. Now information about soccer. Today there was a meeting of the Ukrainian Soccer Federation saying that the Ukraine would no longer be a member of the Soviet Soccer Federation. There was also a proposal to prevent